In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can paint ears realistically, so I want to invite you all to follow along with me. Grab your palette, grab your canvas, grab your sketchbook, whatever you want to use, and let's get started. So when we are starting off with an ear, we want to start off with a nice framework that we could follow, and this is what I call an underpainting. For my underpaintings, I use the same routine every single time. I grab a little bit of Gamsol and I dip it with my brush, and I put a little bit on my canvas right here, and this is just gonna thin out the paint, so it will be very easy for us to layer on top of it. So I'm just gonna mix a tiny little amount. You really don't need that much because we're gonna paint over top of this. And with ears, it's a very intricate shape, so I like to use geometric shapes and very sharp lines because my mind works very well in that way, and you can follow that as well too. You got to test what works out best for you. I really like this one, and I think that if you're gonna follow something, you should stick with it. That's just whatever you're most comfortable with. You don't want to switch between one thing and switch to another thing. Staying consistent with one specific thing is gonna make it way easier. You're gonna start to build a muscle memory, and you're gonna become really quick every single time that you want to paint. And that is exactly how I got really quick at painting. Before, it would take me a really long time because I'll switch between one thing and then I'll switch between a different technique, and I wasn't really sure what I liked until I stuck with one specific thing, and now I'm starting to get really good at it, and my muscle memory is developing. Every single time that I do it, I'm getting better, and I'm finding ways that I can improve in small little areas. So I'm going to show you how to do it right now. And I just use shapes like this. So at the top of the ear, I'm just going to start with the inner of the ear, and then I'm going to create the skin that goes around the ear. So I'm going to use very sharp lines like this. And then after I do this, I'm gonna smooth out the edges so that everything has a nice round curve to it. Right here, just like that. And you want to create things at an angle because everything in your ear is at an angle, it's not flat. So you want to angle it sort of upwards, and you just match where all of the lines go. Over here, and then soon you'll start to see that ear shape coming in. Ear hole goes right there. And I'm just gonna follow this along. And this is gonna curve around. And down here, I'm just gonna now create that outer skin of the ear. And now I'm gonna start to round out my edges a little bit. Over here, just like this. And once you round out these edges, it just starts to look like a nice ear. Have that ear shape. So with all of these lines I'm creating, is just mapping out where the curves of the ear are. Every time you draw an ear, you could use this, but I know that everybody's ear shape is different. But if you just want a rough thing to follow, you can match this. So now that we have that ear shape down, we're gonna start blocking out. So what this underpainting did is just get us a rough outline of where our features are gonna go. So we want to start off with our darkest colors, and we're gonna move on to our lighter colors. And also, if you're interested, I do have a 7-step guide that you can follow for painting portraits. In the description, that's the first link there. It's also going to make you join my emailing list, and I'm going to give you some free value over there, like materials to use and certain techniques that I use. So that is an easy way how you can get some more value out of the videos. But if you are not interested, you can still watch the videos. It's completely fine. But if you change your mind, you can always check out my emailing list. I definitely recommend it. But over here, I'm going to start off with the dark areas. So everywhere that I see a shadow, I'm just going to add in my darkest color. So all these areas right here. And then later on, I'm going to really punch these dark places in by adding some burnt umber. And after I do that, everything will have full amount of depth to it. But right now, just the blocking out phase, you don't really want to focus on just the very small details. We're just getting everything in a rough area. So the ear hole right here, that's gonna have some shadows in it. And everywhere else that I see that the shadow goes, I'm just following it. Okay, now that is all of my dark areas covered. Now I'm gonna go in with my next darkest areas. So I'm gonna use like a mid-tone for those. And those are really just the areas that surround these dark spots. Such as over here. I'm just gonna trace where everything goes. And what this does, it just creates a smoother transition between your darks and your lights. All right, and now when we're creating ears, there's some areas that have some more blood flow. So those areas are gonna have some more red in it. So those are the areas like at the top of the ear and also at the bottom, this area right here. So that is at the top of the ear right here. At the top of the ear. At the side. Also on the inside. There's some areas with some red. the inside right here. All right, so now after you've added the areas with blood flow and the reddish areas, you're gonna start off with your lightest parts now. So these are gonna be areas over here where there's the most light reflection. And after this, we're gonna add our white spots so everything has some more shape to it. Okay, now we're gonna go in with our very bright areas, and I'm going to add some white to those areas. So we just squeeze a little bit of white on our palette right here, and we're gonna be blending it in with our lightest parts, so it's not a huge white spot, because we want everything to look smooth, because skin texture should match what we are painting. So areas such as over here, we add some white. Gonna grab just a little bit more. I'm gonna make it follow the path of the ear. And you want to blend these all together as well, so everything is nice and smooth. Okay, and you want to make everything nice and smooth. Make some smooth transitions between everything. And now that we've gotten those whites down, we can go in with our real dark now, with our burnt umber. So we grab a small amount and we follow those areas that we made before. I'm just gonna trace it lightly. So those are areas such as over here, down here. And we are gonna make it wrap around this part of the ear. I was gonna make it in the ear hole so that part really goes in. Brush just like this, and also underneath the ear has some shadows. So this part right here, just gonna make everything smooth now. Make the edges nice and smooth. So right here, gonna wipe off our brush too. Make sure you have a clean brush. I'm just gonna blend everything nice and smoothly together. And when you're painting, you want to be loose. You don't want to be putting too much pressure, because if you put too much pressure, it's not only gonna mess up the look of the painting, is also gonna make painting less enjoyable. You want painting to be as enjoyable as it can be. Sometimes the best thing to do is just relax and allow yourself to enter your flow state. That is when the best things come out. That's when your best work will be done. Because if you try to force it too much, then it's not gonna come out how you want it to be. All right, now everything will have a smoother shape to it. And in the flap of the ear, I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this burnt umber, just a small amount, so that the flap can really show. But yeah, from there, I'm gonna blend this all together. Okay, and it should be good like that. And really just to make those blood flowing areas pop out some more, I'm gonna add some red straight from my tube. Not too much though, just a small amount, and I'm gonna blend it together so it doesn't really have too much of an effect on it, too much of an overpowering effect, because you don't want that. You just want a very small pop of red in certain pockets. Areas down here, gonna add some red too. Also gonna add some red in this area. You just make everything nice and smooth. All right, and once you get to this point, just create small little brushes. I'm not putting any pressure on the brush right now. I'm just going very, very lightly on top of it. And now we look and we see if we have any extra details to add. All right, we have a little bit of white shining right here. So I'm just gonna add that. Have a little bit of white right there. Also have a little bit of white at the bottom of the ear and on the inside area. Now we're pretty much done. I'm just gonna add some very small details here and there. Just here like that. Grab some burnt sienna. And this burnt sienna is just to give us a little bit more shadow on this lower part of the ear. And now we just need a little bit of shadow on this inside part. And we're now just going to give the ear a little bit more of its shape. Sharpen it up just a tiny little bit. And now we are good. So now that is how you paint an ear. Real nice and simple, beginning to finish. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. And again, I want to invite you to join that emailing list in the description. I have lots of free value on there that's going to be beyond these videos. So apart from that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.